Upgrade?
A little bit.
All right. Tell people where we are right now, Mike.
All right. We are in New York City at YouTube Space, recording the 300th episode of the Golf Podcast. What a run, man.
What a spot to record.
And what a spot. Absolutely. This place is amazing.
It really is. And I think it really is something that it's a good reason to be here, to do the 300, to celebrate the 300th episode, because we've seen so much growth from the YouTube channel over the past 12 to 18 months.
Right.
I mean, for people who maybe have been listening to us from the beginning, we started this, it was audio only. You remember, I mean, recording in the bedroom, you know what I mean?
Yep,
exactly. And it's just audio only, and it was only, what was it, maybe a year or two ago, we started to dabble. Maybe it was like 2-3 years ago, we started to dabble a little bit with the video piece. You know, thinking podcasts, you know, you always think audio, but like let's put our faces in front of the camera too. But we really committed to it just this past year. We filmed in some incredible places, which we're going to talk about in a second. But I think no better way to celebrate it, and to celebrate what we've seen, and from an audience standpoint too. We've had so many great like fan engagement on YouTube. I love reading the comments when we drop an episode. People are going and answering some of the different, you know, opinion questions and things like that we have. So I think that that's been a really important component of it.
Sure.
And like I said, I think that's why you couldn't have found a better location to celebrate the 300th episode.
I totally agree. And we haven't even walked around this place yet. There's so much more this place has to offer.
I know. And how about the gear?
The gear that they lend you, amazing.
That's
really,
crazy.
really cool.
I mean, it's just like whatever camera equipment we needed, the microphones. I mean, I could quickly get used to this.
Oh, quickly.
Very quickly get used to it. I mean, they may have to drag us out of it. But let's highlight some of the stuff. Just give a little bit of props right back to YouTube and highlight some of the stuff that we've seen. And obviously, it hasn't been just the podcast. We've had the videos, the vlogs. We got a chance to travel to Scotland. We did big thing YouTube Golf Day, which we'll talk about more in a second.
Sure.
But want to highlight some of these stats?
Yeah, let's do it. So here's some basic stats here. YouTube subs, 15,000 YouTube subs this year. We started the year with less than 10,000 subscribers. Yep. So I love the growth there. We've had over 2 million views on YouTube in 2019. I mean, we more than doubled in last year. Awesome stuff.
Here's the stat that blows my mind every single time. 15 million minutes watched in 2019.
That's why I saved that one for you, because I know you like that.
It gets me every time. I get a little chills. And it's not bragging. It's more so just, I think it's just an incredible thing that, again, the community and the platform that we're able to bring our own experiences with the game to more people by being able to use this platform. And it's been a great run in that way. So speaking of video highlights, why don't we highlight some of our favorites from 2019?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to do, but let's do it.
There's so many. What stands out for you?
Scotland, number one.
Scotland, big time.
Number one. So recap that. We spent 6 days in Scotland filming the Scotland series.
Yep.
We did that in partnership with Footjoy. Our friends from ShotScope.
Who, by the way, were incredible partners.
Incredible.
Because they literally just said, go do whatever you want to do.
Right.
They hooked us up with they knew we were going to be facing all types of elements. They hooked us up with some great gear to cover us from whatever. And then after that, they were like, go have fun. Can't wait to see what you come up with.
Yeah.
And you can't have a better
you
person
can't.
to work with
Exactly.
than that. And the ShotScope team too.
Yeah, those guys are great.
They're the ones who originally helped us put the trip together. They were our hosts while we were there. I think that local knowledge is something that was so valuable. I don't think we would have had nearly as successful of a trip our first time to Scotland if we tried to pull it off on our own.
Right.
There's just no
I don't
way.
think so either. And, you know, our friends at Fife Golf who stepped in to help with those arrangements, and the University of St. Andrews, everyone who was involved. It was just a great trip. Like I said, 6 days. We played 10 courses. All 10 episodes are on the YouTube channel. And I think we got a bonus one coming out.
We're working on a bonus
one.
We are. All that extra stuff that kind of didn't make the first cut.
That BTS stuff you guys want to see.
That we're going to try to work on getting out for you. Another big milestone, speaking of YouTube, we had our first video hit 500,000 views.
How remarkable is that?
It really is. Because especially sometimes we'll go into a video with a plan and saying, like, we got an idea that this one might, get a little bit more fire.
Sure.
Because people are going to really like this concept. But there's others that should completely take us by surprise.
Right.
And that one was our fitting video, original Titleist full bag fitting video with Kevin Sprecher. It was actually the first time we worked with Kevin. Since then, we've developed a great friendship with him. We've gotten a chance to work with him multiple times. And every time he impresses me with his knowledge from a fitting standpoint and from a lesson standpoint. But here's something that we were just starting to dive into video. We were going to do the fitting anyway because we were going to be making the conversion of the Titleist clubs.
Right.
And we just said, let's record it and see what happens.
And not even our greatest production value.
Probably not.
Because
we were just getting our feet wet.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
But to hit 500,000 views. And you know what's cool?
500,000.
You search Titleist on YouTube and that video pops up.
And I think that's a good thing too. I think it's a good because, again, there's so much education in it. Sure, it's a lot of fun. It's fun to see, like going through a full bag fitting, but there's a lot of... Whenever we work with Kevin, when we work with like John Bach at Club Champion, some of these guys with that deep knowledge, something that we don't have, we leverage that by being able to just turn the camera on and just learn.
Yeah.
And as we're learning, in every bit of that, we learn something. We learn about the process of the fitting or whatever it may be, or why you get fit for certain things, or why the shaft matters and how you can change your dispersion with this, that, or the other thing. By running that camera, as we're learning, the audience is following along and they learn something too. And we've gotten so many messages, so many great messages from everyone out there saying, hey, I learned this, I learned that from it. And that's been, really incredible.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, everyone that we've worked with has been great.
Yeah.
I feel like, we've been doing the podcast for almost 6 years now, and we've been running Golficity as a media company for over 7 years now. And I feel like this whole time we've been getting this incredible education in the game of golf, as well as in the game of vlogging, editing, and all the other stuff that goes with it. So it's been an overall education and fun experience, but fun, as you can imagine.
Fun, big time. All right. I also want to talk about YouTube Golf Day.
Yes.
Speaking of YouTube, so this is actually our first experience in the UK in general. This is something that we kind of like got together really quick. We talk about how that happened. So originally, Rick Shields came up with the concept. He posted it on social, and I remember he put out a post and he said, tag some of the creators that you'd like to see there. And a bunch of you out there, which we're forever grateful for, tagged us. And in doing so, we were like, we became aware of it. We reached out to Rick. Rick was like super awesome about it. Immediately, like, absolutely, we'll get you guys out here. And then we just threw it together.
Yeah.
I mean, we quickly threw it together. It
was book the flights. Let's go.
Let's go. Like, this is an opportunity we can't pass up. And plus, it was a lot of fun. It was fun to get together with a lot of the other creators who we know well from doing this.
Yep.
Be able to see them face to face and have fun with it. But like I've always said, and I think this is a big part of what makes it so interesting to see so many creators in the space.
Yeah.
Is the fact that we got to see so many different takes on the same event.
I was going to say the same thing.
I think sometimes people wonder if like there's a competitiveness to it when you see all the different people who have golf YouTube channels, speaking just of YouTube. But I think the reality is no, we will call each other and say, hey, did you see who whatever did?
Right.
That's awesome. Like it's very supportive because we realize it kind of raises us all up.
Exactly.
And then the idea of being growing the game, it's great to see so many different voices approaching it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So I think we've always been super supportive of that. I love when I see some of our colleagues get tremendous views and things like that. And, it's just, I think it's a good thing for all of us. And I think it's a good thing for the game.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think YouTube Golf Day was good for it in that way.
It was. And of course we had the podcast there with Rick. And it was a funny story that it keeps coming out of that England trip is we did not get to experience the fish and chips.
I know.
We wanted the fish and chips. It was sold out every morning. The manager offered to take us down the road to get fish and chips, and we were like, no, that's all right. We're on a tight schedule. But we appreciate it, but we did get it plenty.
Well, then I made up for it.
You made up for it
Big
for
time.
years. Yeah, you're good for a while.
I had it for every single meal.
5-time winner fish and chip store.
Once we made it to Scotland, for sure. Another big first for us this year was the meetup.
Yes, that was great.
We've done a lot of on-location podcasts, but that was the first time we ever did a live podcast in front of, so to speak, a studio audience, right?
And that was awesome because I remember it was a pouring rain night. People traveled from over 2 hours, some people, to come out there, and we had about 30-something people, and it was just a great time. We were indoor at the Players Club in Paramus, indoor sim place. We had food, like you said. We had the podcast. We had a long drive closest to the hole, and it was just a great opportunity to hear some stories from all the people that came. Yeah, I mean, there was someone there who fought in the war, and he said golf just got him out of that, and we were a big part of that. And
PTSD.
And just to get some stories from people, their family stories, where they're from, and just to converse with a lot of the fans and followers, it was great.
And that story in general, I love just from the idea of golf being kind of its own medicine in that way.
Yeah.
It was something that he could use to, and PTSD is something that so many people struggle with in situations like that, coming back from the war, and being able to use golf as a way to kind of therapeutically get him through that.
Yes.
I thought that was an incredible story. It's a story that stuck with me to today. But the other thing too with that I enjoyed so much was that immediate feedback. We did a little Q&A session.
Yes, that's right.
I always enjoy the feedback on the podcast. We've always said we want to make this more than just a conversation between you and I.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we want to have this be a conversation between everyone who's out there also listening, watching. So we've been able to use things like the comments section, social media, DMs to make it a two-way conversation. But just being there in person and having when it was like 15 to 20 of our listeners there, being able to shout out their questions, give that feedback. I think to me that was a hugely fun experience.
I cannot wait to do more and more of those.
We're definitely going to. We're definitely, and we did a lot of on-location ones as well. Other big highlights from 2019, our Ironman of Golf was a lot of fun.
There was something new.
First time I've ever played 54 holes in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
4 a.m. wake up. I think it was 3:50 wake up.
Yep.
And we played the first round around 6, right?
Yes, that's right.
Crystal Springs held this Ironman of Golf that they do every year, 54 holes. And we covered it. The video's there. Check it out. It was amazing. It was, what time did we finish? Like 7:45 or something like that?
It was just as the sun, it was like sun up to sundown.
Like they nailed it with scheduling.
They really did. And then when you think about how hard it is to coordinate in general a tournament of that scale.
On a multi-course.
Multi-course. When we had to even drive down the road to one of the courses, get everybody in carts, get everybody out, get them going. Yeah. They did a great job of keeping things moving. But also that was also the first time I had to climb a tree 20 feet in the air.
To save the drone.
To get a drone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty funny.
That we keep saying it. If that drone, eventually bites the dust, it literally owes us nothing.
Right.
It has been through the
really
ringer.
It
really has. We have flown that thing. I have so many times thought that's the end of it. Mm-hmm. One, I remember Kiowa.
Yeah.
I got it out there and then tried to get it back home against the wind. Especially when you get it out over water, I'm just thinking, I'm witnessing its last moments, and here it goes.
Yep.
But she came back. She got stuck in a tree. I climbed up about 20 feet, and then what did we use? We used a ball retriever for the last 10, 15 feet.
Yep.
Knocked it down. Yep. You caught it. She survived for another day. Yeah. I think we had to replace maybe one blade, and then we kept moving. But that was really great. Another fun one, some of that on-location stuff, when you were able to work with...
That was cool.
Right.
And working with Aaron Dill. From Titleist. He's the guy in the tour truck who builds the wedges.
And we always like working with him. He's got such a great personality. He's been on the show before.
Here's a guy who loves his job tremendously, and how could you not? You're building wedges for Justin Thomas and
traveling around the world, PGA Tour events. What did he say? He was on the road like 38 weeks a year.
38 weeks a year. He leaves on Sunday night and he goes back home Wednesdays.
Yeah.
He's got kids.
In the tour truck. And remarkable that he's still able to make some time for us. Did some custom wedge stamping, which was hilarious.
Cool. It was great.
Fish and chips and
811. Great stuff.
So that was a lot of fun. We also were at Manchester Lane this year.
Yeah, speaking of Titleist, we were up there. We filmed a whole bunch of videos there. What did we do? Outerwear.
Talking about people that we work with and partners, Titleist was awesome. Mm-hmm. They were just like, hey, what do you guys want to do? And here's the space. And it's an incredible facility. If you guys got to see those videos, the facility is absolutely mind-blowing. But we were able hey, we want a couple things we want to do while we're there. We want to first get to know the space, which we did, and then we said we wanted to try a couple things, the Grooveware, as you said, and the premium versus the two-piece ball. And they're just like, yeah, sure, we'll be here to help support you with the testing. We get Trackmans, and then we just
87-yard putt.
87-yard.
That was cool. So, geeking out a little bit here, would you geek out more over Manchester Lane or YouTube space? That's hard, right?
I know, it is so hard. And that's the thing.
Both
that's where
these
two things that we love doing kind of cross their paths.
Exactly.
Right? Because not only do we love playing golf and learning the game, but we love the content side of it too. We love creating and sharing. And this space is born to create. Yeah, you know what 100%. I mean? And you just, from the moment you walk in, and how cool that these guys have been, anything we need to help with, they give you the equipment.
Cool.
What do you need help with? I'll help you
Nicest
set up the room.
People in the world, by the way.
And then, how do you beat this?
Yeah, really cool. I mean, the ideal office
I'll be geeking
space,
out about this for a while.
Yeah, for a long time. Ideal office space is a combination of Manchester Lane and YouTube space all in one.
Yeah, if we could take this space and just put it there.
We're good.
Surround this with a golf course.
Yeah,
and
we're set.
So now we know our goal for our eventual offices. Also, another big highlight, the Golficity Virtual Open was our biggest ever this year. We had 1,405 people register and 844 people posted a score. That's 844 18 whole rounds that were played in the Golficity Virtual Open. Can you imagine?
It blows my mind because the 1,400 register, I believe, is more than double, way more than double, almost 1,000 more than the people who registered last year.
Yeah.
And to see that kind of growth in that, it's something we love doing. It is completely free, like most of the stuff that we do. We just want to get everyone involved, everyone to start enjoying this game. So we put this together where everyone from around the world can play a tournament against each other.
Yep.
And that was the concept. Every year we decided, so much work, do we want to keep doing it? But all you keep coming back and say, can't wait.
Like, when's it coming?
Yeah.
And it is a lot of work, but it's fun, and I'm always impressed with how supportive the prize sponsors are.
Yes.
All those prizes that were in there, I think it was over like $1,500, maybe $2,000.
Yeah, almost $2,000.
All those were donated.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple that we did. We kick in our own, like here and there. Sometimes I'm Golficity gear when we do it and stuff like that. But all those are just people who want to be a part of it and support it. And I thought that was incredible to get all those prizes kicked in there for sure. And speaking of which, why don't we talk really quick about giveaways, and then we'll do a quick commercial break in a second, and then we want to talk about some more of the podcast highlights.
Yeah.
But speaking of giveaways, 2019 was also a milestone year. It was our most giveaways ever in total number of giveaways and total value. So let's highlight a couple of these. And let's go back to our motto too is always, when we get something,
you get something. Right.
Because we've always wanted it. We never wanted the content we create to be something where it felt like it was bragging, like we're getting something or something like that.
Yeah.
We would much rather be a situation where we don't ever want to feel like it's an all take situation.
Right.
I feel like we want to give at least as much as we get.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody approaches us with a possibility of giving us something, whether it be to test, use, whatever, we kind of have one stipulation. We say, all right, that's fine, but we also want you to kick in an extra that we can give away.
Yeah.
So with whatever we're doing, we always try. We had the Rapsodo, the mobile launch monitor. Like, fine, send us two.
Yeah.
We're going to give one away.
Exactly.
And it's the same type of thing. And then right now, we did a total of, when we grand totaled it up, it was over $8,500 worth of
How
giveaways.
insane is that?
It's insane.
We gave away $8,500 worth of merchandise this year.
It really is insane. And speaking of which, we have our biggest one ever going on right now.
Yeah, that's currently active. The
Currently
T-Series
active.
irons.
If I'm trying to think, this is our 300th episode. We're recording it a little bit in advance. Hopefully, will it still be going by the time
I think it'll
this
be
drops?
done by then.
It might be done. But if you missed it, we're going to do more
Sure.
in 2020 for sure. But that's why you want to make sure, follow, subscribe, so you don't miss these things when they do come up. And just to kind of recap it, we both got fit for the new T-Series irons. I had a mix of T300, T200. You have the T200. But as part of that, we did the fitting with Kevin Sprecher, and we give away an entire fitting and fit set to one follower.
Might be the coolest
subscriber.
prize ever.
It's
Sorry, I mean,
over
it's-
$2,000 value. I mean, incredible.
Yeah.
But some of the other big ones we did, we gave away $2,500 worth of shot scopes. We gave away 15. A big coming from where we had the 7 that we gave away
For best ball, the
for
scramble.
best
Yep.
ball. I mean, that was incredible. That happened the last minute with that chip and eagle.
Yep.
Unbelievable. We gave away $1,000 worth of Footjoy apparel.
That's right.
That was a lot of fun. And that unboxing, how epic was that?
That was cool. So that was all
we
our
unboxed
gear.
our entire year's worth of apparel. We've
Right.
been wearing that throughout the year. But
that was the other thing. The other situation where you said, we want to give back from all this stuff, and these won't fit everybody. So we want to do a giveaway where 5 people can win a $200 prize pack of Footjoy apparel.
Well, no, I think that's a better even example of where our sponsors being so supportive.
Yeah.
We told them we would like to do one giveaway, and they said,
That's
how about
right.
5?
How about 5? Yeah.
Remember that? And they said, okay,
Right.
twist our arm.
And same with Titleist. They said, we want to take it a step further and make sure those irons are fitted.
That's right. We said, would you be cool with us giving away a set of irons? They go, yeah, but we want to do the fitting too.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
How great is that? So it just shows that these guys, they're truly on board. I think that they respect and appreciate the audience as much as we do. And I think that's a big part of why it works. And it just makes us always feel good. I mean, sure, we love getting like the clubs and stuff like that, but how great do you feel on giveaway announcement day?
Love it.
It's
I love
just
it.
so great. Just
love
knowing,
ripping
and
that
we've said it
envelope
before, be
open.
like, yo, somebody's life is changing today.
Yes.
Right before we hit that button that just randomly selects somebody, we're always like, this is about to change
Someone's
somebody's life in a
is gonna
good way.
change that, yeah.
And we've had it before. Some people say like, yo, I was having a bad day. This just made my day.
Yes.
And that makes my day.
Exactly.
So it just kind of goes around in a circle. So it's really great stuff. All right, let's do a quick break. We're going to do a word from our sponsors, and then I want to hop into, let's talk about some podcast highlights, not only just the past year, but let's go back.
Yeah, let's
celebrate
go back into the
300
archives,
and
man.
go back, and we'll talk about some of the big ones.
Yeah,
some
let's
of the
do
big
it.
stuff. All right, hold on 1 second here, guys.
Huge thank you to Titleist for sponsoring the podcast. They, along with all our sponsors, Frank, like you said, they've been incredible to work with. But I want to talk irons, all right? So whether it's the tour-level shaping and feel of the T100, the powerfully playable distance of the T200, or the maximum speed and forgiveness of the T300, the T-Series irons, they provide power-packed a lineup of performance. All the innovation goes in for one reason, and that's to help Titleist players put lower numbers on the scorecard. So visit Titleist.com to learn more about the T-Series irons.
No doubt about it. And we also want to thank ShotScope. We've had an incredible year working with them all of 2019. Guys, if you haven't checked out the ShotScope V2, there's a lot of reasons why you should, but especially because the holiday deal they've got going on right now, Mike. What is it like? What's the total price?
$139.
$139 for the amount of technology that is packed into this thing is just
It's
mind-blowing price to me. But if you guys haven't checked it out, it's the world's smartest golf watch. The V2 gives you all of your GPS distances, laser accuracy. I mean, we've relied on those distances, and they have never failed me. You get your front, middle, back. You get all your hazards. But the nice part is not only is it doing the GPS, it is geotagging every one of your shots. You get these little nubs that go on the end of your clubs. It knows what club you're hitting. The watch has some sort of accelerometer in it that's telling it that you're taking a swing, and it is registering them, so you get to go back and look at every shot. You guys probably saw us using it not only during every video that we did this year, but especially during the Scotland series. We had some of the ShotScope crew out there with us. But the nice part is every single shot that we took while we were over there in Scotland, and as well as all of our videos this year, we've got them logged on ShotScope. I get to go back. I get to look at them. I can look at where I can improve. I can celebrate some of the great shots, and I can also learn from some of the bad ones. So it's all right there. Guys, check them out. Go to shotscope.com/Golficity or use coupon code V2Golficity to get your discount. Lock it in right now. That price you're not going to beat.
Yeah, for sure. And lastly, I want to thank Footjoy, the #1 outerwear brand in golf. Footjoy ensures that you can make every day playable with rain jackets for all weather conditions. We're going to experience that soon, Frank. It's
39 degrees Friday.
It's going to be cold.
Yep.
So the new Footjoy Performance outerwear lineup this year has the all-new DryJoy Select LS. It's the lightest, most waterproof garment Footjoy has ever produced, setting a new standard in rainwear. Amazingly, it's actually lighter than a golf shirt, but it's still fully waterproof.
Impressive.
And the shirt that Frank's wearing now, I don't think he's taken it off in 2 months.
Nope,
Believe it or not, I can smell it from across the table.
Get out of here. I wash it.
No, he washes it. That is because it is
while.
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I do wear that one everywhere I go as well. So you could shop for that as well as all of Footjoy's lineup at footjoy.com/MEDP for Make Everyday Playable.
That's it. All right. So let's talking about the podcast in general and some of the highlights. Again, this episode, we're really trying to celebrate by looking back and looking forward. 300 episodes.
I can't believe it's 300.
Such a big
I just can't
milestone.
think. I can't wrap my head around
And it
that
goes
number.
so quick. I know 250 was 50 weeks ago, almost a full year ago,
Yeah.
but I feel like we just did celebrating 250.
I know.
So it's amazing how quick it goes. And it's just fun just to get back here every week and talk golf. I mean, that's why we started it. But let's talk about some highlights. A big one being, you know, a lot of the shows we do, it's you and I. We're talking about the things that we're learning, the things that we're enjoying with the game, our experiences. But every once in a while, we get to bring some interesting guests on the show. This year, we had some really fun ones. We spoke with Rick Shields. That was a really fun episode when we were back
on location in his home country. Sure.
Exactly. When we were there for YouTube Golf Day. We're seeing Kevin Sprecher becoming a bit of a regular.
Yeah.
I really like bringing him on at these, you know, every couple of months and just kind of talking about the progression, because he, I would say, is, you know, the top coach that we're working with right now.
Yeah.
You know, we've worked with him on a couple different things at this point. Full swing. We did that high-tech golf lesson.
Yeah.
That was cool. We were
That was
hooked up
awesome.
to the K-Vest and everything
the
like
swing
that.
cat. Yep.
And then we did the putting earlier this season, which has been paying off in leaps and bounds for me. I've seen a lot of improvement in my putting. So working with him, and then we had the recent just outing with him where we got to play at Hudson National and just getting his knowledge and him showing us different things, and then being able to sit down with him on the range just a couple weeks ago and just kind of talk about where we're at and just learning more. So that's been really great, having him on there as a regular.
There's golf coaches, and then there's the Kevin Sprechers of the world.
Yeah. It's
So
just
if you meet
next
someone like
level.
Kevin, I mean, you're blessed.
Next level. Another big one for me. This is a really important interview for me, and something that's going to stay there, and I still reference it all the time. our interview with John Bach at Club Champion in Hackensack, New Jersey. John is an incredible guy to work with. He just, again, from a club fitting standpoint, from a personality standpoint, it's just an overall incredible experience. So we've sent a lot of people to him to work with him on club fittings, but we found ever since we did our original fitting, we got a lot of questions. People going for first time fittings. What do I expect? Or the variance in what fittings can be. You know, you could see like the hyper detail fittings we've done, and then there's some that it don't necessarily feel as
right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Without putting anybody down.
I've been through those.
Right. So we noticed we were getting a lot of questions. So we said in the Facebook group, which by the way, if you guys aren't already a part of the Facebook group, it's free. Make sure you join it. Great conversations happen there, and it's a great way for us to ask questions leading up to some interviews. A lot of the questions you hear us asking in interviews actually come from the listeners in the group. But we said, put all of your questions together, and we're going to get as many answered as possible by somebody who really knows it.
Yeah.
And who really knows their stuff. Not only do we like to answer questions just from our experience, it's like this is how we experienced it, but knowing somebody who's been in the business and does it. And we posed so many of those questions to John, and it was just, again, a wealth of information that just came out from it. There's a wealth, and there's just so much in there. So I would encourage people to go back.
I look forward to getting back there with John at some point.
For sure. Any other interviews that kind of stood out for you?
Yeah, so let me think about it. We had the boys from Golfholics.
Yeah, that's going right back to the beginning of the year,
January PGA show. It was their first trip to the PGA show. It was our second. So we wanted to kind of get together with them. We played around with them. Yeah. And then later on in the week, they came by our house and we sat down and we recorded a podcast episode and just talking about them and their hopes and visions for their YouTube channel. Yep. You know, again, other YouTuber guys helping each other out. And
big part of what I like about that show, too, you get to finally meet people.
Yes.
You know, they're on the other coast, so we've had some interactions with them, but hadn't gotten a chance to meet them. And it was kind of funny how that happened. We just first arrived down there, and we were just doing a live session.
Yep.
And they hopped in the live, and they're like, "Yo, we're playing night golf. You guys want to join us?" They're like, we're in.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that was nuts. Everybody just kind of showed up. We had Finch there. We had Seb. And it was just like, that was a lot of fun that night.
It's slowly becoming, if not already, one of my favorite weeks of the year.
It really is.
You know, I just feel like a kid again. And
we break away from the cold weather up here in New York, get down to Orlando, and just have fun. And again, it goes back to what I said earlier, the camaraderie of creators in this space is something that I truly value.
Yeah, 100%.
Truly value it.
Yeah, and we'll be back there again in about a month from now. So
yeah, we had Aaron Dill on the show. There was a lot of great interviews.
That was great. Right before the Masters, talking about the wedge work there. So all great stuff. But let's talk about locations.
Yeah, this is something I know you like to talk about because we were really working hard on outdoing ourselves.
Yes,
right. So we kept saying, "How's this for a backdrop?"
We're big
on
backdrops.
Does this win?
This might win.
This might win.
It's not a bridge overlooking a mountain with water like we've had, but
it does feel pretty cool after 299 kind of makeshift,
MacGyvered. MacGyvered, I love it.
MacGyvered 229 episodes. We just threw them together, and however we could, as we learned as we went.
Yeah,
upgrading our equipment where we could, introducing the video piece where we could. And then now being able to do a podcast in a true podcast studio, is pretty cool.
I wanted it to be here. I've had this vision for quite some time after learning that you can unlock this space and use it. So this might
Which
win.
is such a cool thing. A lot of people are going to ask us, how much did you guys pay to be there?
Right.
And the cool thing is, YouTube doesn't charge a dime to be here or to use all this amazing fancy equipment. Once you hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, you unlock the space. Yeah. And then that becomes just a point of just... all you have to do is just reserve it.
Just reserve it.
And it's like getting any type of reservation in Manhattan.
Right.
It's a little bit.
You do go through some training though.
Yeah.
You know, they want to make sure that you use the space well. I had to go through a lot of reading.
Yeah.
It was like a course.
Right.
You know.
But it was worth it.
It was worth it.
So this is a big one, but some our other favorites were Kings Barnes. We did an episode there after we played our round. Yep. England, just in general, and we were there staying at Formby Hall.
That's right. We did the one with Rick.
And that was one that was amazing that we threw together. Because
how cool is
we
that?
Just found, we were at a hotel, so we're like, you guys have an empty room where we can podcast? And like, yeah, we got this room up there. And then we get up in the room, and remember, they had just done some sort of like wedding, like a makeup thing in there.
Right.
So they had this big like makeup ring lighting. We're like, we'll
Wow,
take
perfect.
it. Yeah,
Yep.
sure. MacGyver.
Yep.
We threw it together. We threw something together.
That was a nice little stage for a podcast.
And
That one came out great.
That one came out quick, and like we put it together quick, and it came out great. So
Yeah.
I'm particularly proud of that one.
And our guest that day was also added a good piece to that as well.
Sure.
He was great.
I mean, Rick is just a great guy to work with in any capacity. Woodlock Pines, we did
That
on
was funny.
location. That
Yep,
was fun.
that was good.
The Sagamore, talk about backdrops.
Yeah. The prettiest backdrop, that might be.
Might go to that. A close second was going to be Hudson National, but that we weren't able to pull that off in that spot.
Time, yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
unfortunately. But we'll be back. Also, the Northern Trust, the media tent.
That's right. PGA Tour on site. We do that.
Always love doing an episode from the media tent, which now going back to it, if you guys saw me sweating in that video, you know, I thought I had food poisoning.
Oh,
Fast forward, you know, I'm like Mike. I'm trying to make it around the grounds, and we're walking.
He's drinking Pepto on the way.
I'm drinking Pepto. I'm following a couple players around, and I'm sweating. I'm like, it's not that hot, but I'm sweating pretty bad. Turns out I got a fever, right?
Yep.
And fast forward 2 days later, I'm in the emergency room.
We can laugh about it now.
Now we can laugh about it, not knowing that I had pneumonia. So that laid me up for a couple of days. But I'm just like, something doesn't feel right today, Mike.
I think you were back on the course a week later.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we did
when
that
we went
par
to the
3
par
challenge.
3 challenge, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if nothing else, it'll help me with my tempo because I'm going to swim much slower because I'm weak.
Yeah.
I ended up losing 10 pounds from that because
nuts.
I barely ate anything for a week. It just it kicked me pretty hard.
Yeah, so there's the key to the weight loss,
That's
folks.
age
Pneumonia.
for you, man. All right, so then those are some big things in 2019. But
That was 2019, right? So let's go back, right?
Further, you know, there was 299 episodes that we can look back on, and actually, if you go back this year, I think this year the first episode was somewhere around 250. So even from 1 to 250, a lot happened. And for people who are new to the show, you know, kind of taking you back, you can go back and listen all the way back to episode 1, all in the Golficity app. It's free to download. You can get it for iOS and Android. And I know a lot of people who've done that. They've messaged us and they said, hey, I just caught on with the podcast, and for perspective, I'm going back. I'm a little bit afraid to listen to some of those old episodes.
Go way
like,
back. Go back to 1 every now and then.
Sometimes it's like embarrassing, right? It's like looking
Yeah.
at old videos of yourself and like, But we were doing the same thing then as we're doing now. We were learning the game and just chatting about what we learned, you know?
Dude, guys, I had hair and no beard back then. Look at me now. It's complete opposite.
So you're saying that they've done that to you?
Yeah, they've done that to me.
But look, it was, we also, neither one of us had kids.
That's right. So much has happened since we started this show.
Yeah.
None of us has had
We
kids.
both
I think
have
we
had
both have
2
moved
daughters since
multiple
then.
times.
I've moved 5 times since then. I think you've moved 3 times.
Yeah.
A lot happens in 7, 8 years.
happens, man.
But some of the big highlights, you know, going back, talking about, again, interviews, we always chat about this. One of our best and most significant moments was when we got the opportunity to interview Gary Player. I mean, talk about a legend of the game, but also talk about inspiration. The energy that he brought, even just to that interview.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow. Some of that just like
kind
of rub off on me type of thing.
You always make fun of me for my, well, not make fun, but we talk about my memory and like the weird things that I remember. I was in the hula hands in Saddlebrook, New Jersey when I called you to tell you the news.
And there's sometimes when you call me and I just think you're punking me.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So I'm like, all right, serious?
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, we just got word that Gary Player's coming on the show. And I remember I was standing right outside like the restroom because I was in a business meeting and I had to like excuse myself to go over there. And it was an interesting story how I got him. I just reached out. That's it. Just reached out and said, I know Gary's about to turn 80.
Yep.
And I know he loves talking. And he's a vibrant guy. He still works out. You know, everyone knows that about him. And he said yes right away, came on the show, and it was one of the greatest interviews.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was. Yeah, so that was an incredible one.
Who else do we have on the show? We had Natalie Gulbis, Peter Jacobson, even PGA Tour winner Austin Cook.
Yeah, Austin
last
Cook.
year.
It's nice to give once in a while get that PGA Tour player perspective. The guys from Me and My Golf, Piers and Andy, who've over time have become quite good friends with, you know, we've really considered them friends and we get to see them more often. But from the start, which is funny, when we first started, it was about the time that they were first launching their YouTube channel. And I remember, you know, you were first getting into golf. I was getting back into it. It was very fresh. We were probably both 20-something handicaps back then. And I was using a lot of their videos. I know you were too, to improve.
Yes.
So a big part of our journey has instruction from them, which again is another kind of hat tip to YouTube, because it's been a space where a lot of people have improved their game.
Yeah.
And learning different things. But I think being able to get them on the show was really fun too.
I remember discovering them saying, like, who are these knuckleheads? These two guys doing who's watching these guys? This was like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, who's watching these guys? Going from that to like, can't wait to meeting up with them and seeing them in Orlando and things like that.
It's funny. Everybody, you talk about being a little bit embarrassed with their first stuff. We were saying, like, you go back to some of their very first and you realize the production value.
Yeah.
I mean, now those guys, nobody does it like those guys do. It's incredible production value.
Sure.
But it just also shows, like, look, if you've got something important to say that you want to share, just turn the camera on. Who cares what it looks like?
Right.
And in the beginning, God knows what they were shooting those on, and it was not nearly where they're at now. But you don't jump out off the gate, with that high production value. You just don't.
Right.
So that was cool. Another big one for me was Dr. Joseph Parent. Because Zen Golf has been so important for my golf game. Being able to get him on the show, that was a really, really important one for me, and I really appreciated that. The other thing, too, and that kind of reminds me, we'll talk more about some of our listeners in a second, but we've had some longtime listeners of the show who've really become a part of it to me.
Yeah.
One of them is Will Selman.
Yeah.
He has been with us from the start, and he's always incredible about reaching out, giving feedback. He's been helpful in so many ways, and I want to give him a special shout out because he's the reason we got to have Dr. Joseph Parent on the show.
That is right.
Because he was saying, hey, listen, this is a podcast I listen to. You guys got to get on there, and he connected us.
Now, he's a physician.
He is.
And he gave us that whole itinerary list of things to have and do before going on our travel.
For real.
Which was great.
Down
to the Tylenol, to the...
Dude, he was like, when he heard we were going to Scotland and the time change, he gave me some ideas, and I used them.
Yeah, you said it. I go, what's in that bag? You're like, everything Will told me to buy.
Whatever. Literally, I just took I printed out Will's email. I went to the
good.
Yeah. So that was fun. And then we had Eric Anders Lang on the show this year, who, again, is somebody that I came from a point of really respecting what he was doing. When we first had him on, it was just as he was launching his YouTube channel. Now we've seen incredible, explosive growth.
Sure.
As of this recording, I think he's at almost 90,000 subscribers. But again, that was something that was just respecting him, but then all of a sudden it blossomed into like more of a friendship, and it really does impress me what he does, and I always like working with him and just shooting notes on DMs every once in a while, just especially like when I see like the big milestones he's hitting. I think it's incredible, and I always want to try to support him in that. It's just been good stuff.
100%. And it was a great day to spend with him here in New York City. We did that. And it's funny, we always joke about every time we come to New York City, something always great happens.
Yeah.
So I think I can remember clearly that I think out of 300 episodes, only 1%, 3 episodes we filmed here in New York City. Paige Sporanic at Golf and Body.
That's right.
Eric Anders Lang.
Yep.
And now this one.
Yeah. That's a pretty good lineup.
Nice. Yeah, it's a pretty nice lineup.
That's a pretty good lineup. We dove into some training aids. We had
that's right. Lots of training aids.
Super speed golf, which has been one that's incredibly hot, especially with a lot of trainers right now. That was really cool. I think they're doing good things. Orange Whip, you see me using that a lot. We had the Orange Whip on going further back. But yeah, I mean, just again, highlighting some favorites. One big favorite for me, I keep coming back to John Bach, because I thought from an informative space, that was probably one of our biggest, because we just, like I said, we took questions we were getting constantly and we brought it to somebody who we knew was going to know the answers. And I like that as a formula more and more, where we find, because we've got a lot of questions, but also our listeners out there have a lot of questions, and being able to take those and then finding the person with the knowledge to answer them, I think it's something we want to do more and more.
100%.
For sure.
I can't wait to do more of those.
Yeah.
And about the relationships that we've created from this venture.
Yeah.
Guys who've been so passionate about Golficity that they've come on board to help us as contributors.
Yes.
Guys like Chris McEwen and Eric Benzenberg, Eddie D'Attuza, and now Patrick Diamond and Greg and Trevor over at the Pin High Podcast. Guys like Frank Duffy, Joe Gambino, guys, Fitness for the Fairways.
Yep.
So as this media company that we are creating is starting to grow, we're kind of bringing a lot of the fans that have supported the show for a while, who have a passion just like us, onto the platform.
Right. That's just what it comes down. We created the platform because we felt like we had something we wanted to share. Mm-hmm. And now when we see other like-minded people who have something that they want to share, it's not necessarily these guys are going to go knock on like Golf Digest door and say, I want to do a show for you.
Right.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
But the nice part about it is things like this, YouTube and the internet, and how we're able to develop our own platform that'll give other people voices. And when we started Golficity, we said, let's create the type of content that we would want to see. And now we're doing a similar type of thing by bringing more people on. We don't get to talk a lot of PGA Tour. So now we're bringing these guys on, and Patrick and the crew with the Pin High podcast, because we want to hear it.
Right.
So it's like, great. He's a spot to do it. Or, with Frank and Joe, with the with their fitness for the fairways, they get into the fitness. We're going to do a little bit of that, and there's going to be
Eddie
more
with
and
the
more.
food
Eddie
and all that.
You're going to see more and more, but it's great for us to feel like we've got a little bit of a full circle there, where someone comes on, starts as like maybe just a listener or a subscriber, and then we get connected and become closer and closer, and then kind of help each other along.
Right.
Give them a space to have a voice and bring their voice onto our platform. I think it's important.
It's funny, every time you say you can't just knock on Golf Digest door and write for them, it reminds me of the Seinfeld clip where George quits his job. He's looking for a new one, and he says to Jerry, I can do broadcasting. You know how I make those interesting comments during the game? And Jerry says, you can, but they tend to give those to people that are in broadcasting.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's it right there. But I love that we've created this platform for all of you. If you're out there and you're listening to this and you say, you know what, I do have that passion, hit us up.
For sure. Sure. We'd love to hear it.
There's a
We're
million
always
ways to get to us.
Check it out. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap it up, let's just talk about looking forward a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a good segue, because one big commitment we're going to have 2020 and beyond is continuing to grow Golficity as the platform. We've always said we want it to be so much more than just Frank and Mike.
Mm-hmm.
By bringing new voices on, by bringing new shows, we're going to be able to create more of that content. Our end goal here is to have Golficity be a golf content, universe where you can see a little bit of everything. And there's so much that goes into golf. There's travel, there's food that we talked about. There's going to be so many different areas. So we're going to be expanding on that. Also, within the Golficity app, we're working on more stuff from some of the different social channels. So you're going to see a lot more of that, more segments, more shows. And if you guys have suggestions for stuff you want to see, we're all ears. Post it in the Facebook group. Tweet at us, DM us, post it in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this on Facebook, because we value that, and that's stuff that we try to make happen. And we'll be honest with you. Sometimes we'll be like, yeah, love the idea. We're working on making it happen. Takes some time sometimes, but we make it happen. But we're going to have some new experiences for the podcast, too. We'll be back in Orlando in a few weeks, speaking of which always just kind of like we go in with a plan, but we adapt.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, if you got an opportunity to get somebody on the show and interview them, like, come on over to the house, let's just do an interview. So we don't even know what might come out of that.
It was like the Golfholics, exactly.
That's right. That was not planned at all. And all of a sudden, we got them on the podcast. So there's that. There's more travel. We're working on Pinehurst. We're working on trips out, possibly Whistling Straits, possibly getting over to Ireland. There's a lot of things that are on that kind of possible column that we're hoping to move into the locked-in column.
Right.
And you could see a lot of new stuff like that coming to the show in 2020.
2020 is going to be pretty epic. I don't know how you could beat 2019, but
every year we just say, like, if we just beat the year before, we've done something big.
Right.
We really have. So it's been an incredible run, Mike.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything that you've done to being a part of this.
Same.
Traveling assistant to the
traveling secretary.
Which, by the way, if Mike was, we wouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
Because Mike's the one who found this place. Mike's the one who found everything that had to happen around that. So it's been a good run, dude.
Thanks, man. Same to you, because you're the guy who's been editing 300 episodes.
That's right.
So it's reciprocal right there. So cheers, man.
Cheers, man. On to the next 300.
Let's do it.
And thank you, everybody out there who followed along, listened, subscribed. You guys are the reasons we get to do this week in and week out, and that is not a joke. That is real. So we appreciate every bit of that. And on to 301 next week.
Yep.
We'll see you then.